Hi guys, this is Justin Fowler with NinjaTutorial. I'm going to show you how to log in and run your first quote on NinjaTutorial. Everybody's entitled to a free 30-day evaluation of our product, so please give it a try, test it out in your agency, and let us know what you think. Any feedback, comments, questions, you can always just send it right to us. Let's get right into it. Check out the login screen. Nothing fancy here. If you're creating your account for the first time, you're going to want to click here, and basically the information that we need is very simple. I think it's an email and a password that you can choose. We try to keep this as simple as possible. If you ever do need to reset your password, very simple. You can click it here. Once you have an account, you're going to sign in, and it's going to take you to the quoting screen. This is the primary quoting screen. This is where you'll do most of your quotes. We also have an API that can integrate with other systems. So if you use a CRM or if you have something that you've built for yourself and you want to include this, we can use these features in a variety of different ways. So let's get into it. Very simple. The whole point of this is to make the quote process as easy as possible. And again, these quotes are manufactured. So what I mean by that is this is not an actual quote from the company. We've tried to estimate the rates as best we can and get them as close as possible to what you would get if you took all of the time to go to each company's website, ask their questions, get all of the data. But we've simplified that so that all that's necessary is to do the computations first, see where all the companies stack up, and then, and only then, can you go out and really effectively market without wondering whether or not you're going to be effective in the end. So without further ado, let me try to highlight this thing here. Let's take a example quote. The policy date, basically these are going to be the effective dates of the rates. So let's say your company's going to have a rate increase and it's coming on October. Today we're using rates that are valid as of today. So if in the future, if you wanted to forecast or look back, you would be able to change the effective date of those rates and do that. XMOD is always going to default to 1 or 100 in decimal format. So if you need to change that, or if the XMOD is different, you can enter it here. Enter it in decimal form. So if it's a 120 mod, it would be 1.20. I think it even gives you a little balloon help here. This area is where you put in your class code. So let's say I want to quote a restaurant. So I know it's happens to be 9079, right? That's the code. As soon as you start typing, the autocomplete, which is one of those predictive autocomplete, is going to give you the best options for you to choose from, so that you don't have to remember each and every code. But if you're someone who already knows the codes, then that's great. If you want to search by keyword, you can also do that. So if I don't remember that 9079 is actually the restaurant code, I can start typing restaurant, and again, it'll show me what's the likely code for that. So there's my code. This field we're going to ignore for a while. Some companies offer subcodes. So if the class has many different sub-tiers, you can use that to refine the rates later on. For now, it's not. We'll skip that for now. Right now, let's put in our payroll, $100,000. And just for sake of example, we'll say this covers 3 employees. And we have to give it a zip code in California, of course. This works in California only right now. We're going to advance into most of the NCCI states as soon as possible. But right now, it's primarily for California. And if you're watching this video and if you're in one of the other states and you'd like us to get on it for you, please do contact us. We do need additional help from brokers in the field in the actual states that we want to get into. It really helps us with market intelligence so that we don't have to make things up basically. So, and we can test it against real world scenarios. We don't want this to be a theory. We want this to be vetted by people that do this every day, which is what we are. So I've put in the variables that I need, which is really the only thing I need to run a quote. And when I hit run quote, it's going to give you your results. So if you look here, this is what we've done with the results screen. We've color coded these for you. Now, what that means is this is our appetite filter. So if we know that, for example, some of these companies at this premium level are not going to write this class code, we're going to put them in red down here at the bottom. So it's going to pretty much be a non-starter. And if this is again based on their filed rules. So of course there will be exceptions to this, but it's more than likely if you submit this to them at this premium level, these companies are probably going to decline it. The yellow section is going to refer to companies that may take this. So in typical underwriting fashion, these are the companies that will say, give us a chance, let us take a look, right? Or we'll take a look at that kind of thing. So these are a maybe at that premium level. So whether it's the class code or the premium level or the location territory, so depending on whatever factor the company has filters built in for, this is going to automatically present to you what we've, based on our research, think are the best options for you. So that's how you use the results. You start off obviously with the green companies. Those have been vetted, and we know that they're going to write this class code. Again, there'll be exceptions to this. If you turn in a restaurant that also is mostly a nightclub and has a high percentage of alcohol, even the green companies might not take that. So they're like everything, there's so much variability. It's hard to account for every single situation, but this is pretty much our best guess. And especially for Main Street commercial accounts that are going to be under 100,000 in premium, this is going to be really helpful because most of those are done programmatically, especially under the $25,000 level. Most of the companies basically have that done electronically, and a human rarely, if ever, gets involved. So you can quickly and accurately see who the big players are in this industry, or I'm sorry, for this class code. And instead of having to wonder where the best place to go is to start, you can start off with some companies that are going to be at the lower end of the spectrum. And as long as they have the services and additional things that you need, instead of focusing on, submissions and price and wondering what your cost is going to be when you come back, you have a very good idea of the places that you can go to get them something that's affordable. And then also, once you learn, or if you already know, the different features that the companies have, the different services they provide, then you can focus more on those services and also the additional services that your agency provides, instead of worrying about rating and searching for markets and this type of thing. This does not block any markets. So this is not a submission. This is not submitting to the company. I did that on purpose. I wanted this to be quick. I didn't want this to get bogged down in underwriting questions. The whole point of this is to be fast and get to this number and this lineup as quickly as possible with as minimal involvement from anybody. There's not a whole lot of data you have to enter in here, so it doesn't bridge to anything because you don't really have to enter that much. Again, the whole point of this is I didn't want to have to go to each carrier vendor and beg and plead to participate with their software. What that does is it makes it slower. People that have tried this in the past, what happens is if you ask the carriers to participate, at least in the first run, usually they're going to give you a list of things that you have to do to change, to modify your process and basically make it comply with their system. And you do that 25 times and you have some ghastly thing that's going to ask 500 questions and take forever. So to get around that and to just make it quick, this is basically what we did. So these are your results screen. We have a PDF for you. So if you want to export these to a PDF, you can click that button, and I'm going to show you what that looks like right here. So it puts a pretty nice printout and shows you in fairly simple format, what you would have seen on the screen, so that you can review this with your clients and prospects. We've used this in the field. This is very effective. Nobody can show a prospect the entire lineup. Nobody can do this now. If you're lucky, you have maybe 5 or 6 markets. Maybe you submit to those. Maybe you can get a quote back if it's not blocked, or if some other type of thing. But pretty much nobody can show them every single company where they're going to stack and where it is that you're recommending they go and why. So this is the advantage this gives you, is something unique that you can show them. And this, in our experience, builds trust quickly because they can see everything. And every time we've done this, the customer usually responds with, why are these premiums different? What's the difference? Which is perfect, because then you can transition into the conversation you want to have, which is, well, this company provides loss control that is a little bit better. It's not outsourced. Their people are, experts at dealing with manufacturing. They deal with, construction or whatever your class code is. And they have, these type of things that you can do. That's pretty much the gist of it. You can resort. I'll do another video that has some other useful features in here. But if you have any questions or you need any help, if you want one-on-one assistance using this, just give us a call. The Xmon search, and there's some data sets that we're putting in here that'll be pretty cool. So thanks for watching, and good luck using NinjaTutorial.